Steam Deck prices are wild now, so here's the new Just Get a Steam Deck, Bro. Hey everyone, Retro Tech Dad here, and it's no secret that the state of the tech industry has rapidly changed with a sad reality that some of the things we enjoyed in the past, like cheap storage, RAM, and even micro SD cards are a thing of the past, at least for now. It was only a matter of time that one of the best values in handheld PC gaming and one that is incredibly beloved would be impacted by this new reality. The Steam Deck hardly needs an introduction in the handheld community, and certainly not for many viewers of my channel, as it's really been one of the niche's go-to devices. You know, as they say, just get a Steam Deck, bro. Unfortunately, it has become harder to do since earlier in the year, the Steam Deck disappeared from the Steam website worldwide, with the gray out-of-stock button that haunted each region for several months until recently when Valve came back with a new price that has now sadly further cemented this more expensive reality. I actually had this script on the back burner and started working on this a few weeks ago, well before the price increases, and so I've actually had to adjust a few of my thoughts here. But it is truly amazing what a couple months can do, because just back in November, I picked up the 256GB LCD Steam Deck for just $319 brand new, so I could do this awesome shell swap to the Baja Blast that you see here. But what was once my pride and joy as a trophy for the accomplishment of successfully doing a shell swap, which by the way is definitely up there in difficulty, is now a stark reminder that this deal may never be seen again, or at least not in the immediate future. Both the LCD and OLED models were always solid values for what they offered, and while we have seen many more powerful and arguably better options come and go, the Steam Deck has been persistent in a space that thrives on constant iterations. For those that know me well, know that I love a good value in tech, but I also like underdogs and maybe even underappreciated hardware. There's a saying that when one door closes, another opens up, and for right now at least, there's a solid alternative to the Steam Deck that is readily available, goes on sale frequently, and is basically a Steam Deck in another shell. Say hello to the ASUS ROG XBOX Ally. Or I should say hello again to it, because this is not the first time we've seen this handheld on my channel when I first covered it at launch back in November. And as a brief reminder, this is the base Xbox Ally with the Ryzen Z2A. But don't let AMD fool you, this is the Steam Deck APU, but slightly supercharged with the ability to go to 20 watts. In my original review video, we saw that it performed basically neck and neck with the Steam Deck, and at its original launch price of $599 US, it was firmly in competition against the OLED Steam Deck, which was once available at $549 US. Now you could make an argument for either side, but the reality is that it doesn't matter a whole lot today, since this Xbox Ally has seen its fair share of sales, going as cheap as $499 brand new just last month. In fact, for those that are deal hunters and have access to a Best Buy, or even online at Amazon, you might have been able to snag one of these for as cheap as $400 open box in the past few months. To me, that is an excellent value, and one that makes the Xbox Ally well worth considering, especially when on sale. And I hate to say it, but it might be the only real alternative in terms of a fairly solid and budget PC handheld that is readily available for purchase, especially brand new. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't want to deal with Windows and all of that, and thankfully you don't have to if you don't want to, because you can install the real SteamOS on the Xbox Ally, which is available, and it works very well with it, making it feel a lot closer to what you would expect out of a Steam Deck in terms of functionality, performance, and even the user experience. There's lots of great tutorials out there that detail what needs to be done to get this up and running, but it's a fairly straightforward process and very similar to installing Bazzite. So if you're familiar with that process, it really doesn't take much to get it up and running. This is obviously not a tutorial video, but should be fairly straightforward, and I'm always here in the comments section and on Discord to help someone out, and in no time you can have yourself an Xbox Steam Ally. The coolest thing is that you can have the best of both worlds and keep two different operating systems for those times that you might need or want Windows, especially for something like Xbox Game Pass, or for any games that might only work within the Windows environment. But the reality is that you can install whatever you'd like, including Bazzite, CachyOS, macOS. Okay, maybe not that last one, but yes, there's lots of great options that work with this base Xbox Ally if you prefer. Now, thanks to the full-size 2280 slot in the back of the Xbox Ally, we can easily expand storage to make your multi-OS streams a reality. But really, who can actually afford more storage in today's economy? And so I imagine most will just make do with the stock 512GB like I've done here. And I'm curious to hear from my viewers that own an Xbox Ally whether or not you're rocking the multi-OS setup, or do you just stick to Windows, or have you gone full-on Linux? Let me know down in the comments section what your OS of choice has been here. So I guess with all of this, I just want to say it's not all doom and gloom, since the Xbox Ally I think for many will be a good alternative, and it also happens to be one of the most comfortable handhelds I've used, and even features a slightly larger battery than the Steam Deck OLED, and really the biggest loss on the Ally side is the display. But there are those that would rather have the 120Hz variable refresh rate panel over the 90Hz one found on the Steam Deck OLED, and this panel is certainly better than the one found in the Steam Deck LCD model. Regardless, it's still a solid 7-inch panel that supports a 1080p resolution, and for the games that it can handle, it's more than enough. There is one thing that the Xbox Ally doesn't have, and it's the Steam Deck's trackpads, and honestly, just talking to people in the community, I have found that many don't feel very strongly for it or against it. So as long as you're willing to lose out on them, it's probably not the worst thing in the world, especially when that world currently doesn't have a Steam Deck for sale brand new from Valve, and when they are in stock, they're now insanely priced. Of course, if you switch over to SteamOS or Bazzite, you get a great user interface that definitely makes the loss of trackpads less painful, and really it just comes down to games that you might want to play that work best with them. And on that note, when it comes to games, I think just like the Steam Deck, the Xbox Ally makes for a great indie machine and a great device to tackle your Steam library with. And so really, I just thought it would be interesting to highlight the Xbox Ally again, because I've been paying attention to what's been going on with it since launch, and I do really think it's a great option for those that want to get their feet wet with PC gaming on the go, or perhaps as a companion device. But really, many of the same reasons to own a Steam Deck will apply here with the Xbox Ally. Don't underestimate this device, because basically everything the Steam Deck can play will play on here, and then some, especially if you choose to leave it on Windows. For example, I've been using it to play a lot of Forza Horizon 6, and it runs very well on this device, and so it's not just great for tackling your indies or older games in the backlog, since many developers have been targeting this Steam Deck as a baseline for performance, which means that the Z2A Xbox Ally gets to benefit from all of that. The same applies for emulation as well, and while it's not the most cutting-edge tech, so harder to run games with platforms like the PlayStation 3, might not be as performant as something like the Z1 Extreme handhelds, the Xbox Ally can handle many of the same things as the Steam Deck when it comes to emulation, and so it really does give someone a good idea of what to expect, and also opens up the Xbox Ally to a huge world of possibilities. So this is going to be a shorter video than usual, since it's more of a thought that I had that I really wanted to share with everyone, since I don't know if many are aware of the deals that have been going on with the Xbox Ally for some time now, and I just want to inform those that watch or come across this video that there are options out there for someone that might not want to take the plunge into a PC handheld that now is becoming increasingly expensive with prices rising across the board. I'm curious if you've picked up an Xbox Ally since its launch last year, or have you considered it as an option now that the Steam Deck is in a very different position today? If you're already an Xbox Ally owner, how have you been enjoying the device months later? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, as always, I am the Retro Tech Dad, and thank you so much for watching.